have to this. One is that there were an awful lot of endorsements that happened long before all the candidates were even registered for this election. So that is a little upsetting and disturbing. And the other thing is that a question like that actually points to some of the problems we have in this country and in the state in general, which is I can only talk to somebody who has a D or an R after the name. And if you don't have the chosen letter after your name, or an I, sorry Linda, then I can't talk to you, I can't think that I can work with you, and I can't, you know, endorse you. And to be offended by an endorsement is just, I think it's a bad thing, the way things are going these days. Thank you.
I got something real quick to say. The party machine is speaking. Okay, this is what these endorsements are really about. And they came like lickety-split. You had to, well, I hear you're running, and then 3 days later you got 100 endorsements. That's amazing. Mr. Seria sits on the board of the San Marcos Partnership. I want to say this before if I forget to tell you. The San Marcos Partnership was running ads on Times Square, in part with tax dollars, inviting people and wooing people in a very not smart advertising campaign to move to San Marcos. At the same time, the Hays County Commissioner's Court was conducting a water grab by enabling Four Star Real Estate Group to sue our district and our district board members here of our groundwater district. I don't like political machines, and I urge you to bust it up.
Anybody else?
Could I respond to that? Is that part of this, that I could respond to the
You're going to let
comment?
me do that?
Yeah, just because I think it deserved to respond to Ms. Carr, because she brought this up last time.
Quick.
I'm sorry.
Quick.
Sorry, Linda.
Quick.
Linda Curtis. Party, sorry.
Quick.
So, yes, I am one of the original members. Caldwell County Commissioners Court put me on the executive board for San Marcos, Greater San Marcos Partnership. That is that is the only economic development group to bring quality jobs to Caldwell County. Yes, I'm one of the original members of that, and I'm still proud to be an executive board member of that. That decision, where Four Star, where Dr. Cobb had that vote, which was just a month ago, was stopped by Commissioner Will Conley. Commissioner Will Conley of Hays County was the only ascending vote out of was the third vote. This is true, this can be looked up. Will Conley and I had many conversations, and Will Conley had the courage to step up against Judge Cobb, and he was the vote. He was the third vote to go against doing an agreement with Four Star. I spoke to Will Conley before that decision was made. I urged him to do it, and he did it. Will Conley had the courage to not have that agreement go through, and it's not going through. Thank you. And I appreciate you bringing that to our attention.
Do
I get to respond to that?
No, sorry.
Moving on.
We're going to move on.
I now forgot my question. No, my question, my name's Alicia Thornton, I'm from Linton Springs, Texas. And my question is, if elected, would this is to all of you by the way, if elected, would you support a bill to protect the Carrizo-Wilcox Aquifer like the Edwards Aquifer? Would you also look to work for legislation to support more control in local governments and away from entities like the Railroad Commission and the TCEQ? And thirdly, Mr. Seria, this is towards you. Earlier you had said that you were interested in protecting Lee and Bastrop County water. What about Caldwell County water?
Yep, good.
Okay, I believe we're back to the original rotation here. I kind of
Yeah,
got
I would support more local control over the water. I certainly understand that there's going to be a large push to move this up higher on the state level, and my desire would be that we actually do make sure there are mechanisms. Again, we need a process where mechanisms are in place where we get more local control over these resources, but also at the same time balancing those takings that are taking place with respect to the water. There is going to be some give and take here. I mean, we have to understand is, you know, there is a large entity that sits to our west that has a desire to, come after the water and the resources we have. We just need a system in place that will actually work to help us protect it, and that's what I would be in favor of doing. She had another question, and I can't remember.
The other question is, would you be interested in putting forth legislation to give small government, local government more control?
Yeah, I'm a local control guy. That's where I would be. I would be with, and when it comes to education, you know, the more we can do, the closer to the people, the better off we are.
But you would be interested, you would be, if you're elected, you would be,
No,
you would be willing to put a bill forward to protect the reasonable aquifer.
without a doubt, that aquifer, along with the other, you know, our other water assets that we have.
Here's where the rubber meets the road on local control. Do you support the rights of home rule cities to allow, where people can petition to put their own measures on the ballot, and if they're passed, will you defend them? And there are people right now in the legislature and in the Railroad Commission who tried to interfere with the Denton frack ban because they carry water for the oil and gas industry. They will not stand up to the lobbies. Whether you like fracking or not isn't the point. A bunch of Republicans voted for that frack ban because the Railroad Commission wouldn't do anything to stop people from bringing fracking facilities within 250 feet of their homes. And they begged them and pleaded with them and lobbied them, and they couldn't get anybody to do anything. They said, well, to hell with this. I'm going to petition. We're going to put it on the ballot, and we're going to pass it. So I absolutely support the right of the citizens to pass these measures and to defend their own communities, and absolutely support our groundwater district from these harassment suits that Four Star Real Estate Group is doing. And this has been going on for a long time, folks, not just this recent vote at Hays County Commissioner's Court. And I don't have time to tell you the details.
Two questions there. Yes, I would definitely support a bill and introduce one to protect our water, flat out. I'm trying to maintain this environment for future generations, just as people before us did. So we need to keep our water here and keep it protected. As a mother who just had a student graduate from UNT in Denton, thank you, Linda, for bringing this up. This is a perfect example. The city council had a vote. They decided to ban fracking. Well, it's not really banned, it's a moratorium on the ones that are still going to come, which means that there's still plenty of wells, and they're darn close to the school and very close to homes. And if you live near those, you are going to have a problem with your water, your air, your breathing, everything. We have plenty of accounts that show for that. I called my son that morning after the election and congratulated him, only to find out that immediately after that, of course, the city council was threatened with mega lawsuits, and now the Railroad Commission comes in and they say, oh, actually you're not allowed to actually decide this for yourself. We are. And that is one of the examples of bought and paid for politicians. The Railroad Commission is owned by the oil industry, and that's just the way it is. I support local control and local decisions. Thank you.
Yes, I would support the same laws that protect the Edwards Aquifer. That's one of the biggest ones that's been going for a long time. So yes, I would do the same type of laws there. And I apologize for not mentioning my county that I love, Caldwell County, where I'm very proud to be a resident of Caldwell County. I'm proud to call Lockhart my home. We are also very fortunate in Caldwell County because our water source, Mayor Lockhart's here tonight, our water source comes from our southeastern portion of Caldwell County. We are also very fortunate to have our own aquifer and to be able to have our own source of water. So I do get this issue up in Bastrop County, but primarily in Lee as well. It is definitely local control. Local people know best. It's their water. It's their rights. Those are the ones that should have that decision. I worked on the Caldwell County Commissioner's Court. I understand, I know, and I hate unfunded mandates. I hate when the state pushes down on the counties or on the cities mandates and tells us how we run our business, especially these 5 rural counties. We're much different than Harris County, Tarrant County, and Travis County.
Thank you.
Ty?
That's okay.
Keep it
Yes, I am for local control, and I would sponsor legislation to protect our aquifers, protect our water. And not only would I sponsor legislation, but I would work across party lines with other legislators in the legislature to get them to sign on to that legislation as well, educate them about what's going on in our district and how it would affect them, because a lot of times people are not willing to vote for something unless they know how it's going to affect them too. We tend to be a little selfish in that way, and so just educating them on the importance of that, and that it's not just a regional issue, it's also a national issue, and that it's going to affect not just the people in our area, even though it's going to directly affect us more quickly. It's going to have an effect that's going to be felt by a lot of other people as well. And not only would I want to support that legislation, but I would also want to monitor TCEQ and make sure that they just don't have a checklist of things that they're going through, but they're actually doing what it is that they're supposed to be doing. And that's one of the things that a legislator can do, is to monitor those things.
Thank you. I'm Tom Glass from McDade. As I've learned more in my life about how Austin works, I've become more and more sickened because I see the special interest using their influence behind the scenes to get their way at the expense of the citizens of Texas. And I believe the king of the cronies is Speaker of the House, Joe Strauss. And you guys, whoever wins of you may or may not get to vote. Okay, guys in the New Jersey sense. Okay, but anyway, you may or may not get to vote for this speaker's race. I don't know if you're going to make it there in time, but it's going to probably continue to be an issue. And I wanted to know, if you get there in time, do you plan to vote for Joe Strauss, and why or why not?
The answer is no, hell no, hell no. Okay, Joe Strauss has been the guy that we have been trying to get to for years to protect East Texans' land that is getting trampled on by the big pipeline industries. Some of the people that have been fighting these people in the courts on these huge eminent domain cases that went to the Texas Supreme Court are supporting me, Julia Tree Crawford. The landowners in Texas are so outraged that a foreign company can come in and basically grab your land and check a box claiming to be a so-called common carrier to get this enormous power of eminent domain. We asked Joe Strauss to do something, call hearings. We didn't even ask him to actually literally do anything but to call a hearing. Never heard from the guy. He's from San Antonio. He's totally supportive of this Vista Ridge project, a 142-mile pipeline that is surely going to damage this aquifer that we share with the people on the other side of the aquifer in Burleson and Milan County. This deal is in play. And Michelle Gagnes and myself and a lot of really good people have been working together to build alliances, urban and rural alliances, with people in San Antonio and all the way down that pipeline to say, wait a second, you're going to damage an aquifer to come build over another aquifer and damage that? Not on my watch, and hell no, Joe Strauss.
What she said. Ditto.
You know, as far as we know, no one up here is going to have that vote. We're not going to have that vote. I realize it's a hypothetical question, so I'll answer it. Our current state representative, Tim Kleinsmith, if I'm not mistaken, will have that vote for our speaker. But we do have another candidate, and y'all help me. I think there's probably others, but I know there's one candidate in particular that's up against Speaker Strauss, Mr. Scott Turner. Scott Turner is it's going to be a sophomore guy. Was a freshman last term, and he's very charismatic. He's a good motivator. It's what he does for a living. Actually, he's used to be a professional football player, so he does a really good job of motivating people. He's a great leader because of that. So I would suspect, unless there's somebody else that's there, I would suspect if whoever is in that seat next year, that Scott Turner will have an opportunity again. He'll be back. He'll have more experience. He'll have some more oomph behind him. And I would bet there's also some other people that will rise up. There'll be a true vote that'll come up. I have nothing against a up-and-comer, a new young person, somebody that's charismatic and there. but I also believe in experience, and I think Scott Turner is getting that experience. So thank you.
We are at an hour, okay? The young lady back there is at the end of the line, so from this gentleman in front of her.
Four more questions.
There's going to be 4 more questions because we need to really move along.
And I'll keep my answer very succinct. No, I would not support Strauss for speaker.
My position is I don't know Joe Strauss at all except for what his record is, and I don't like his record at all. So the speaker is definitely, but also I don't want to engage in a speaker race without knowing, I don't know Scott Turner at all. I don't know if he's the right person for the job. I don't like the current speaker, don't like what he's done, I don't like a lot of the issues that he has. But I also don't know what Scott Turner's selling to the members, because it's 150 people that make that decision. So, you know, if I read or hear all the time that, well, we're you know, Scott Turner's the guy. I don't know that, but I certainly would be open to when I'm in if I'm in that position and blessed to have that opportunity. I'm by no means I'm going to keep my mind open, and will cast it with the point who's the most conservative, limited government, and willing to work to make sure that our district can preserve it. And anybody that's working against that would not have my vote.
Good evening. My name's Ed Rivers. I'm from Elgin. I'm going to quickly, because 30 seconds. I think I'm the only person here, I think, that would vote for any one of these affiliations. I'm not going to vote for just because you're an independent Republican. I'm amazed that everybody here seems to have an agenda. I think it's a given that anybody that gets elected to this House seat is going to be against pumping water out of Bastrop County or want to get elected. So to be point, don't kick a dead and beat a dead horse. My question is two-pronged. How would you propose to be effective in the House if you were elected? And saying you're not going to vote for the speaker is not the way to be effective. How would you propose to be effective in the House, and how would you support yourself when you're in the House?
Shelley? Shelley?
What do you mean by support?
What, sir?
I didn't understand the
How
question.
are you going to make it living?
Oh, I know.
Okay, how would I be effective in the House? I don't have any illusions about the fact that as going into legislature as a freshman, that I'm going to be the wheeler dealer showing up and telling everybody how it's done. As much as I'd like to be able to do that, I realize that it takes cooperation and it takes working and with people on all sides of the aisle. And I do believe that my years and years of experience with negotiations back and forth with buyers and sellers or mortgage people and things like that, that I have learned certain ways to handle things, and my analytical style, I think, is something there I want to know all possibilities and learn things as best as I can, and then work with other people to make the decisions that are right. I'd like to take that information, bring it home, work with the people of the area, and then bring that information back, and our decisions that we make together go back with our good sense and bring it to Austin, and then make decisions. How do I make a living now? I'm a self-employed realtor, and I would continue to do that on a part-time basis, because this job is also part-time, except for the 6 months when it's full-time, and luckily I have a wonderful husband at home too who has a job, so that helps.
To be an effective leader, whoever gets this opportunity, it's going to be pretty obvious. They're going to be drinking not only from one fire hose, but probably 2 fire hoses. This is an extremely steep learning curve for anybody to be able to step into this. So it's about surrounding yourself with good people. It's about taking care of those people that you do surround yourself with. It's about building alliances, and I mean that. You know, some people get worried when I say the word relationships and alliances, but that's on all sides. That's working with people. You know, that's getting to know their issues. That's being respectful to them when they have difference in views. And what that does, that builds you credibility. And that's similar to Commissioner Beckett. Commissioner Beckett and I worked for 5 years on the Campo board, and where we worked together, we were the 2 small counties. This is Bastrop County and Caldwell County. So we had to work together with others. I own my own construction company. We own a company. I employ 51 people. We're very successful. I have 3 other partners who has given me the rein to pursue this, who know I can do this. When I was commissioner in Caldwell County, I was very effective because I have the ability. I'm very blessed to have those resources. We have been the top three, last 2 years, fastest growing companies in Central Texas. But more importantly, we have been in the last 3 years the best places to work in Central Texas, top 10 best places to work in Central Texas. And so I would use that same philosophy that I use in my personal business and in any of the other organizations that I belong to.
The best leaders are servant leaders, and I would be effective in the House remembering that I was elected to serve, and not forgetting the people that elected me to serve, the people that elected me to represent them, and not playing the political games once I got there, even though there's a lot of that goes on, but remembering why it is that I'm there to serve the people, and that I'm there to build people, and then going and communicating and breaking down barriers that are existing, letting people know me, so that we can really get the things done that we need to get done for the people that are in our area, the people that elected us. And I know that just from working with people in my past, that people can have ideas about who you are just by looking at you. They make assessments about you in the first 5 seconds that they see you. But when you can invite them to dinner and you have dinner with them and you start talking to them about things that you have in common, things that you're worrying about, it breaks down some of those barriers that you have, and you're actually able to have some real conversation. And I want to be able to go to the House and do that. And also the only other way that I'm going to be effective is through prayer. I am a prayer, and I believe that I'm going to have to pray, that I'm not going to get offended so easily, that I have tough skin, and that I'm able to remember who I am and why I'm there.
The first question was as to my vocation. When I sold Gallery Watch years ago, it allowed myself and my partner the ability to invest in entrepreneurs. So we keep between 4 and 5 portfolio small companies. I have a hobby store. We have an IT company. We run a couple of other online .coms. These are self-sustaining. They run themselves. I'm purely strategic. It allows me the opportunity of late to get to invest, time with our family, Cynthia, the kids, and some of the other stuff. With respect to legislation, I will differ here. I know a lot about the legislative process. I started a process to track legislation at the Capitol. I know the Capitol inside and out. I'm not from a lobbyist. I've never been a lobbyist. I was a staffer, yes, but I sold my wares, my service to people, associations. I understand the issues. When I went through every committee hearing that was there, I listened to all the committees. A lot of these are the same issues over and over. I understand the process very well, and I would like to put that to use for our district, and I think that I can. I think that I'm the best suited to be able to do that because I don't have a steep learning curve. If anybody wants to talk to me afterwards, I can explain this in a lot of great detail.
Mr. Rivers, I appreciated your comments, and I watched you when you were running for office, and I thought you were an interesting, independent kind of guy. And I am one of the lucky people in this world who has somebody who supports me with no strings attached, and I get to work on whatever I want to. Okay. Some of you Republicans are probably going to be upset about this, but I'm going to tell you that when the Trans-Texas Corridor, the huge coalition that defeated Trans-Texas Corridor, had an advantage in the 2000 legislative session, we had closer to parity in the legislature, and that's what I like. I like it when you can go to both sides and wrangle and get in and build coalitions, and I just want to make it a 3-part coalition. I don't believe that we are going to have change in the state or in this country until we have that third option where new kinds of coalitions can take place. There are many legislators in the Texas legislature right now, Democrats and Republicans, who would love to not only work with an independent, but be an independent.
My name is Mary Bowen, and I'm from Cedar Creek, Texas. I am a 5th grade public school teacher, and so my question is about vouchers. First of all, if voucher money is opened up, we fear that privatizing big corporations will come in and set up the same kind of failing charter schools that are now failing in other parts of the country. And I would like to know from each of you how you will protect our school children who are now protected by an elected local school board. And I would like to know specifically, will you vote for or against vouchers?
John? No.
Well,
Is that right?
Thank you again for the question. The vouchers, I'll just start off with vouchers. So, no, I'm against vouchers. Let me also give you some more background. My mom was a home ec teacher. My oldest brother, Mark, the third oldest, or the oldest brother, is coming up on his 10th term at the Hershey-Willis Bedford School Board. Very a servant in public school system. Rochelle reminded me we actually have 7 current teachers in our 2 families, current teachers in the public school system. I do want to say this because this also came out early on and it wasn't true. I did not say this and I don't believe this, which is homeschooling is an option. It's a good option. It's becoming more and more accessible. It's becoming more and more available. But also realize that homeschooling takes resources, and it also takes a skill set. And not every family, especially in these 5 rural counties, have those resources or have that school set. The endorsements did come after. The endorsements that we do have did come after the Monday filing. The supporters, I will say, supporters, the names actually came in early. They came in before I even decided to run. But our endorsements, I have both endorsements for public schools are supporting me. I believe that our public school system, especially in these 5 rural counties, is extremely important. It is where our children get their education. It is where the children get their, a lot of them get their value system. But also, more importantly, I was on the board of the Capital Area Food Bank. This is where our children also get their meals. It's a sad statement, but it's true. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner is sometimes provided by outside source. So the public school system to me is very important. It's very vital for these rural counties. And vouchers may work in Travis County, they may work in Harris County, they may work in Tarrant County, but I don't believe they would